How to get clients with sales prospecting and social selling. Spoiler, it's not difficult. Mastering sales is fast, really fast. You don't need to be a growth hacker to generate leads at scale. You don't need to be a seasoned sales rep to close plus 10K deals. If sales was complicated, there won't be 16 years old out there making 6 figures a year with the service business. So what are you lacking of? 1. Actual information on how to do B2B sales in 2023, not in 2010. 2. A repeatable and scalable sales process that works for almost any kind of B2B company. 3. An understanding on how to leverage technology to make 1 and 2 work together. That's why I decided to build this masterclass with actionable tips, no BS here, just pure value. Okay, so who is this video for? Basically, anyone who needs to find B2B clients, namely startup co-founders, agency owners, SDRs, BDRs, AEs, you name it. Obviously, not everything will work for everyone, so I'll adapt part of this sales training according to the ones who have a high-paying offer, service business, or not, startups. At the end of this video, you'll be able to generate leads for your business with outbound sales and inbound marketing, close deals, and build yourself a personal brand. By the way, who the fuck am I to give you a course on sales prospecting and social selling? Bonjour! My name is Arnaud Belinga, I'm French, I love skateboarding and Formula 1. I'm also the co-founder and CEO at Addressable, a social selling software. Basically, sales prospecting is boring and we want to make it enjoyable for your prospect, but also for yourself. So, as you can see, my job is to sell a software, not courses. So I thought, why not give out as much free value possible instead of charging $2,000 for it? If you like this mindset, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, to like, comment this video, because I plan to give out more bangers like this in the future. If you still have some questions after this video, make sure to check out our blog, berkel.com/blog, because there is more value there. Okay, thanks Arnaud, but how do I get clients with sales prospecting and social selling? Alright, calm down. This is how we'll do it. First, we need to understand how the B2B buyer's journey has changed and worked today. Second, we'll assess which B2B sales techniques are the best right now. From there, we'll be able to build a system that will make us sales. And finally, we'll see how to actually put in place such system. So let's start with the state of the B2B buyer's journey. Why should we talk about it? Because if you don't know how people buy, you won't know how to sell. Let's break this down. Compared to B2C, people in B2B buy things they usually need. What was needed in B2B couldn't be made by anyone for a long time. It was hard and/or costly to produce. For example, building a software. But now, everything gets commoditized. Anyone can sell anything. In plain English, it means that if you offer something new that people need, it will be easy to sell. Once what you're selling is no longer new and saturated, it's a commodity, so it's harder to sell. So how can you make the difference in a B2B environment? Well, you can build a brand or you can have a unique positioning. These two used to work and still work to a certain extent, but nowadays there's so many B2B offers in any type of industry that the attention of prospect is scarce. Attention is the most scarce resource today, and being able to get the attention is the most valuable skill today. That's why Mr. Biz, Kylie Jenner, or Kim Kardashian are billionaires. But you tell me it's B2C, right? The thing is, my friend, everything that happens in B2C always happens in B2B. Now B2B buyers know there's plenty of solutions for the problems. They know your positioning, they know your brand, but they're people, and people relate to people, not brands. B2B buyers, more than ever, want to be confident and will favor the products, the softwares, the services that they appreciate the most, and this has a tremendous impact in how you do sales prospecting and social selling. So now let's see how we can answer this with current B2B sales techniques. So what are the best sales techniques to generate leads and close sales? The goal here is to avoid hard work that doesn't bring you leverage. Leverage is everything. If you don't know the fuck I'm talking about, go check this video from Alex Hormozy. Hard work
will not make you rich.
So now let's talk about field sales or door-to-door prospecting. Door-to-door prospecting was pretty popular. It's still nowadays kind of, but it costs so much money, right? You need to take your car to go to see clients, etc. And so with the cost of oil today, pretty expensive. In terms of efficiency, it's mid-level. It's not really scalable. In terms of deliverability, you never know if you're gonna reach your prospects or not, and it's pretty time consuming, but it's easy to get prospect attention, so credit to that. In terms of relationship building potential, it's pretty good, but we're in 2023, not in 1993, so it's a no for field sales. Now let's talk about physical networking in B2B events. It's still popular nowadays. You have a ton of events like SaaS Talk, etc. But the cost is pretty high, and if you go to paid events especially, in terms of efficiency, it's high. The scalability is pretty low in terms of deliverability, but you are obviously gonna meet your clients, and it's pretty time consuming, and physical networking can worth it for huge deals, but they definitely don't worth your time, effort, and energy, especially if you have a team. The ROI will only be interesting if you're selling at an enterprise level. The average ROI is 5:1. This means that for every dollar you invest, you should receive $5 in return on average. You can 5x this ROI with other sales techniques, so it's a no for physical networking. Now let's talk about cold calling or cold call. The popularity peak exploded with the call centers in the 1980s. Obviously, cold calling is still a huge thing today, and the cost is pretty high, especially if you have a sales team. In terms of efficiency, it really depends. The scalability is pretty low when you think about it, because costs are not as scalable with the people you hire. It's pretty time consuming, and it's not that easy to get prospect attention. And in terms of relationship building potential, I would say it's pretty low. Cold calling is working less and less over the years, and it should be only used if you have a really high paying offer. Otherwise, your ROI will suck. If you're targeting local businesses though, it's by far the best outbound sales channel, like Thomas gonna show in his video. I don't know if we say Thomas Gane or Thomas Gane. How I book 3-5 meetings a day with cold calling SMMA. So make sure to check out this video because it's really a good one if you want to learn more about cold calling. But considering its scalability and its lack of automation, it's a no for this video. Alright, so mass mailing. Mass mailing was pretty popular, obviously in the early 2000s, in the rise of email. The cost is pretty low. Efficiency nowadays, though, it's pretty low. In terms of scalability, it's pretty high because you can target millions of people at once. But the deliverability is pretty shit. Time consuming, it's also low. Yes, you will not build relationship with mass mailing. Don't expect that. Mass mailing is basically a 2002 thing. Using this method is the best way to go to the spam folder at scale. So for this video, it's a no. It's not the best sales technique nowadays. Alright, so cold email right now is pretty popular. Obviously you can start for free, but if you use a bunch of tools, email finder, cold email softwares, you can jump to $400 per month if you send cold emails at scale. It's really efficient, it's highly scalable. In terms of deliverability, if you use email warm-up, you're going to talk about it later, it works like a charm. It's not time consuming, pretty easy actually to get prospect attention if you know how to do cold emailing. And yes, you can build a relationship with cold email. So like they say, you only one cold email away to everything you dream of. So it's a yes. Let's keep this sales technique for this video. When it comes to LinkedIn automation tools, it has a huge peak during COVID-19. The cost could be viable, but it's efficient. It's pretty scalable. It has a good deliverability once you're connected with someone on LinkedIn. It's not time consuming. You can build a relationship, etc. But my problem with LinkedIn automation tools is that in just 4 years, people became incredibly good at spotting but also hating LinkedIn automation. If we consider that you can get your LinkedIn account banned pretty easily, it's a big no. So it won't make the cut here. Now let's talk about social selling. Social selling is a mix of content marketing, relationships building, and cold messaging on platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter. It's probably the best way to make B2B sales right now, so it's a huge yes. Conclusion: social selling and cold emailing are the winner, so what's next? Okay, so now that we know that social selling and cold emailing are overall the best B2B sales methods right now, what should we do? We need to build a system, a sales system. This system needs to generate us leads constantly, generate us leads exponentially, close deals constantly with relationships building. What we want is basically a sales flywheel, a system where the more we do sales prospecting, the easier it gets to make sales because of the compounding effects of our system. To generate leads constantly, we'll use cold email. To generate leads exponentially, we'll use social selling. To close deals constantly with relationships building, we'll use social selling as well. So let's do the flywheel breakdown. Step 1. We will automate cold email campaigns. First, we'll send automated cold email campaigns. This will generate us leads every day or every week, depending on how motivated we are. While our cold email campaigns are automatically running, we'll engage with our 20 ideal prospects and B2B influencers in our niche with social selling. Don't worry, this won't take you more than 30 minutes a day, and rewards are huge. Once you've generated leads with cold email, you need to close them. For that, we'll use a sales CRM to manage the life of our leads. This CRM will also help us engage prospects with social selling. Then we're going to add our positive replies from cold emailing on LinkedIn if it's possible, and we'll post on LinkedIn. The more you engage with prospects with likes, comments or DMs, the more they'll see your post on social media. The faster you'll close them before or after the call. It will also generate you inbound leads. So as your audience of qualified prospects on LinkedIn or Twitter gets bigger, it's easier to go through step 1 to 4. Why? Because your social proof and personal brand will help both cold prospects and warm prospects to close faster. What if you cannot do all at once? If it's too much for you to handle, just focus on generating leads with cold email and closing them with social selling. You can skip the generating leads with social selling part, which is step 2, 4, and 5. So now what do you need to learn for this to work? 1. You need to master how to craft an offer and comprehend your buyer persona. 2. You need to master cold emailing. 3. You need to master social selling. 4. You need to master closing deals with a CRM, which is a customer relationship management software. I know what you're thinking right now. Geez, that's a lot. Let me free your mind. This is not difficult. Everything you need to know can be learned in this very specific video. Then it's just deliberate practice, showing up every day and iterating until you get results. Ready? Let's go. Crafting a good offer and knowing your buyer persona are the most important things in sales prospecting and social selling. Let me say that again. Crafting a good offer and knowing your buyer persona are the most important things in sales prospecting and social selling. If your cold emails don't work, if your DMs don't work, it's because either your offer sucks or you target the wrong people. Everything else is secondary. Alright, let's talk about the offer. A good offer is well priced, unique or different, is money back guaranteed if it's a service business. It generally solves a legal obligation, saves time or makes money. But actually, what matters is how you pitch your offer, not the offer itself. Alright, let's take a real life example. For a future video, I created a fake agency that sells Twitter ghostwriting. That is my offer. If I pitch to a prospect the following, "We write tweets for your startup," it's a bad offer. Why? Because it's descriptive. The goal is to sell benefits, outcomes, not features or what we do. So let's do the pitch again. "We write tweets for your startup." Wrong. "We turn your startup account into a lead generation machine." Yes. We're talking about growing from 0 to plus 500,000 impressions per month, generating website visits, backlinks, and more leads. Yes, that is a good offer. We'll talk more about how to structure a sales pitch in the cold email part of the video. Now let's talk about your ideal customer profile, aka ACP, also known as buyer persona. When doing sales prospecting, you need to segment your ICP into different ones. Why? Because it will help you to be relevant in your sales copy. For example, let's say your ICP is startups. That's way too large. Niche down to B2B fintech startups in downtown New York and adapt a sales copy for that specific niche and replicate the process to other areas or industries. Before prospecting, you need to know your TAM. TAM means total addressable market. Why you need to know that? Because it will determine if you go for volume in your sales prospecting or not. Imagine you sell $1 million rockets like Elon. You don't have many potential clients, right? You'll be forced to do what is called account-based marketing or ABM. What it means is that basically you'll have to hyper-personalize every interaction with your prospects in order to close them. On the opposite, if your TAM is big, you can go for volume and be more aggressive in your outreach. For example, let's say you sell a live chat software to SMBs for $25 per month. Potentially, 100 million businesses can be your customers. In that case, it won't be dangerous to automate your prospecting and not hyper-personalizing your discussions. Your offer and total addressable market will mainly determine your ROI of doing sales prospecting and social selling. It will also determine your ROI of personalization, which means if it's worth it or not to personalize your outreach. You can click on the link in the description to know your different types of ROI. We've built free sales tools for that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to talk about cold emailing. So first, what is cold email? In case you still don't know, so far in this video, cold emailing is the process to send cold emails to strangers. The primary goal of a cold email is to get meetings with your prospect. Some people also use cold email to build partnerships, get backlinks for SEO, etc. Is cold email legal? Long story short, yes, it's legal. Yes, it's GDPR compliant, as long as you send cold emails to B2B email addresses, not B2C ones. You also need to have a legitimate interest to do business with your recipient. Cold email, though, is prohibited in some rare countries, so check it out. So let's talk about how to find leads. The first step of cold emailing is to find leads. In this video, I won't talk about cheap tricks on how to find email addresses manually here and there. We want to be efficient, so I will just talk about the real things. There's basically 3 ways to find B2B email addresses. 1. Buying databases from a service business. 2. Buying a subscription to a database software. 3. Scrapping some data yourself and using an email finder. Scrapping some data yourself and using an email finder takes time and is not the most money efficient. Buying databases from a service business can cost you thousands of dollars one time or per month. So the best way to get email addresses is to use a subscription-based database software, also known as a sales intelligence software. So let's divide this in 2 categories. The softwares that allow you to build your customer profile and export data, and then the softwares that will make you super relevant. This is a list of softwares you can use: LinkedIn Sales Navigator plus Everbot, Find Email, ZoomInfo, Faro, Clean Leads, Seamless AI, Leads, Lead 411, 411, I actually don't know. All of these have the advantages and disadvantages, but my favorite right now, and to most people actually right now, is Apollo. Why? Because in terms of pricing, you won't get anything better. Apollo is a combination of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, where you can filter leads to build your buyer persona, but also a combination with Built With, because you can find individuals or companies depending on which technology they use. Apollo gives you almost everything about your prospects: the emails, company name, personal LinkedIn URLs, personal Twitter URLs, and so on. Alright, let's build a fake prospecting list in Apollo for our fake Twitter ghostwriting agency. First, go to the people section of Apollo to build your ideal customer. We want to target startup founders because being visible is a hot topic for them, so in job titles, I'm gonna write co-founder. Then let's say we want to target only co-founders that are in NY. Okay, now we want to take only co-founders who have a startup with a headcount between 11 to 50. Why? Because below there, they won't have enough money, and above the sales process is too complicated, basically. In terms of industry, we'll go with computer software to make sure we have startup founders and not agency co-founders, for example. Finally, we could have selected the live chat intercom as technology because it's crazy expensive, so we'll know for sure money won't be a problem for them, but I will keep that way. Once I've built my ideal customer, I just have to select every leads on each page, add them to a list, and then from the list I can export the CSV ready to be used in a cold email software. For example, Brackle. The only downside with Apollo is that you can save only 25 leads at a time, but thankfully you can use Find Email to speed up the process. Now that we have one prospecting list built with a sales database software, let's see how we can build another one with a no-code scrapping one. Imagine you selling a software or a service to French professional photographers. I'm pretty sure that part of the Nikon French Twitter account has tons of them, right? What if you could just copy-paste the Twitter URL of Nikon France and get automatically the first name, last name, website URL and valid B2B email address? It would be cool, right? Well, my friends, it's actually possible. If you're using Scrappybird, you just need to go to a Twitter profile or viral tweet and click on Export Followers with email addresses. And boom, you got yourself a high-quality prospecting list. It's now time to talk about email verification. You remember Apollo, right? Where we got our leads from. They say that the email addresses they have are valid, but the truth is about 70 to 80% of them are not, and that's not good news. Why is that? Because if you have invalid email addresses, your emails will bounce, and if they bounce, your email delivery will suffer and you end up into the spam folder. We'll talk in depth about email delivery later in this video, but for now, the only thing you need to understand is that you need to clean your email list. There's a few softwares that are dedicated to that, like Never Bounce or Zero Bounce, but at Breakcall, we do that for free and you import leads, so let's import leads inside Breakcall. To import leads inside Breakcall, it's pretty easy. First, you're going to build a list. In the lead section, we'll call it Twitter NY. Then we'll click on Import CSV and we'll go through each step. We'll map the fields of our CSV with Breakcall ones, but most of the time, the software will automatically match fields together. Don't forget to import the LinkedIn, Twitter, and website URLs because it will be helpful for us later in this course. Once you've imported your leads, Breakcall will automatically check if the email addresses are valid or not. When they're not valid, you have basically two options: using Breakcall Email Finder to fill the gap, or deleting the leads because it's a waste of your time. I personally delete the leads except if it's leads that I really want to have as clients. Alright, so now we have a clean prospecting list that is imported into our cold email software. It's now time to work on our email deliverability. You need to care about your email deliverability, otherwise you're fucked. If your emails don't reach the primary inbox, they won't have chances to get opened. That's deliverability. If your emails don't get opened, you won't get replies. That's copywriting. So let's start with deliverability and with email domains specifically. Number one rule about email deliverability: use a dedicated domain to cold emailing. Why? Because if you go to the spam folder for any reason, it will affect your whole domain authority, which is a very bad thing for SEO and all the stuff. What should you buy then? If your website is breakcall.com, go buy getbreakcall.com. Try breakcall.com. Always aim for the .com because this extension has a better authority. How many domains should you buy? It actually depends on how many emails you want to send per day. Always aim to send a maximum 30 emails per day per sending domain, so you'll be sure to never have delivery problems. So let's say if you want to send 300 cold emails a day, you'll need to buy 10 domains and you'll use what is called email rotation, but we'll talk about that later. But to be honest, when you're a beginner, 2 to 3 domains is perfectly fine. Where should you buy the domain? From anywhere you want, but for delivery reasons and ease of use, let's pick Google Domain here. This is how you should do it. First, go to Google Domain and write the domain you want. Go to your cart and make sure to tick the customer email, then choose Google Workspace Business Starter. Write your first name, last name, and the username of the email account you intend to use. Quick tip for the guys listening here: you can use a woman instead of yourself. It will jump your open rate and reply rate like crazy. Quick tip 2, set up a profile picture in Google Workspace account. The human face will always look good in the inbox of your recipient. Quick tip 3, don't forget to redirect your sending email address to your main website. People copy paste it more than you think of. For that, go to Google Domain, My Domain, and in website, click on Forward Domain to set this up. Quick tip 4, subscribe to some newsletter to show it's not just an email for prospecting to Google or Outlook algorithm. It will help in the long term when it comes to deliverability. Once you bought your sending email domain, you need to set up SPF, DMARC, and DKIM. Long story short, it's DNS records, domain settings that will certify that you're the real owner of your email and to prevent that other people send emails on your behalf. Good news, SPF and DKIM are set up by default when you buy a domain on Google Workspace, so we just have to set up DMARC. Alright, this is how you can do it. First, go to Google Domains, click on My Domains and click on Manage. Click on DNS. Open Custom Records, click on Manage Custom Records and click on Create New Record. In host, insert _DMARC, select the TXT type, TTL should be at 3600. Finally, in data, enter this code I'm showing you right now and put your email instead of your email and your domain instead of your domain. That's it, you've set up DMARC. Now let's set up custom domain tracking. But first, what is custom domain tracking? When you use any kind of cold email softwares, by default, you're basically using an invisible pixel to track the open rate. Here, how many people open your email. The thing is, you're sharing this pixel with other users of the platform, so if people are spammers and have a terrible delivery, you can be at risk too. That's why you need CDT, custom domain tracking, to use your own pixel, the one from your email domain. To set this up, go to Settings, then Advanced in Breakall, type your domain, then you need to copy-paste the generated info in a new DNS records, like we just did with DMARC. Alright, now we're almost done with the directory settings. Let's end this with email warm-up. Email warm-up is basically a process that keeps your email directory safe. When you buy a fresh domain, if you start to send 50 emails per day, you'll easily get blacklisted because it's not a normal behavior. To get there naturally, without sending manually fake emails with other email addresses, you need email warm-up. Thanks to this process, your email will send automatically emails to other users of your cold email software. In general, you get about 40–50% reply rate, which is huge, and this will send a signal to Google and Outlook algorithm that you're a really good sender, not a spammer. To set up email warm-up, you need a software. Here we'll do it with Breakall because obviously it's easier, it's a self-promotion here. So just go to your email settings and click on Activate Email Warm-Up. Don't touch the settings on the autopilot mode, and that's it, you're done. You've set up email warm-up. Now every day emails will be sent automatically by the tool, and the ones who go to the spam folder will be marked as non-spam from the other recipients, so your directory will be safe. When should you stop email warm-up? Never. The thing is, you should always let the email warm-up running. For how long should you keep the email warm-up run before sending cold emails every day? You should wait at least 3 weeks before starting out to send 20 to 30 emails a day if you're starting out with a fresh new domain. We'll talk about other directory details later in the video, but now it's time to create our first cold email campaign, so let's do it. To create a cold email campaign, go to Campaigns inside Breakall, click on Create Campaign, select a cool emoji to represent your campaign, and enter the name of your campaign. Then go to Options, choose how many emails you want to use for your campaign. Each email has its own sending daily limit that you choose in your email settings. Once the limit is reached, emails will be automatically sent from the next email addresses you selected. It's called email rotation. Then choose the time range of your sequence. Here I want to reach out people in the NY time zone between let's 10 a.m. 01 and 11:51 a.m. I decide to contact people in the workday from Monday to Friday. Then it tells me that with these settings I will reach 29 leads per day. I disregard all the default settings and click on Save. Finally, I will connect the prospects I want to reach out by going to Leads and connecting the Twitter NY list we created. Everything is ready now. We just need to write our cold email sequence. To write our cold email sequence, we can start from a template or from scratch. Let's start from scratch to talk about email copywriting. Copywriting is really not complicated. Let's break the myth in like a couple of minutes. First, keep it short. On average, cold emails with less than 75 words get the most responses, and who likes to read emails as long as Route 66 anyway? Second, don't use links in your cold emails. They will reduce your email delivery. Only use links that you know they could improve your reply rate, like Loom videos, but don't use links like your website in the signature. People will check your website from your sending email address anyway. Third, avoid spam words like free, now, buy, because at scale, this will get your email blacklisted. I use Breakall's email assistant for that. Then use a simple vocabulary. 5th grade reading level emails get more open than other ones. Shout out to Will from Lavender for this stat. Then you need to be contrarian. Do the opposite of what everyone is doing. If people use a capital letter in the subject line, don't use one to disrupt the pattern of the inbox, and so on. This is what we'll do actually for our subject line. Let's go with about your Twitter startup growth with no capital letter. Alright then, let's talk about the structure of your cold email. You need to use an opening line, then you insert your sales pitch, after that a quick CTA with or without a closing line, and you can finally use a PS line. Let's talk about cold email opening lines first. For the opening line, let's go for now with something generic. We'll talk about personalization later. So it will go like, hey first name, just joking first name, let's break the ice. For the sales pitch, you can structure it in basically 3 ways. A sales pitch that uses a client case study, a sales pitch with a value proposition, a sales pitch that gives value first. If you want to learn more about the sales pitch, we basically wrote an article about it, really long, so link in the description. Here, let's make a sales pitch with a value proposition. It looks like this. Do you like Twitter? We can turn your Twitter starter account into a lead generation machine. We're talking about growing from 0 to plus 500,000 impressions per month, generating website visits, backlinks, and more leads. Using numbers in your sales pitch is key for the reader to create interest. Now it's time to write a call to action. Here, let's use Worth a Chat. If you want to learn more about cold email CTAs, I also wrote an article about it, so link in the description. Finally, let's make our signature simple. Here I'm gonna use the fake sales rep woman I've created for my agency. So Sophie Williams, head of growth at Tweet Unicorns. We could stop there, but I'm willing to take a small delivery risk by adding an image in my signature to make it look more human and professional. Okay, so now we've written the first step of our email sequence. What about the follow-ups? Follow-up emails are key to get responses. Most people will not reply to you because they don't want to, but because they're busy. My favorite example is Ryan Breslow, a startup billionaire who followed up 15 times another co-founder to just get a meeting, which eventually landed a big deal for his company. So how many follow-ups should you write? There's loads of debates about that, but for me, 2 is the best. In this example, let's go with 1 because we don't have a lot of time for this video, but normally I do 1 email, the first step, and then 2 follow-ups. You want your follow-ups to add extra value to your first email and or to make your recipient react. Here I'll go with a traditional breakup email. So it goes like, last email, I won't bother you with 7 emails like people do these days. Is the above relevant to you, first name? And then the signature with no links, no images, just Sophie. Some people also use humor or divisive CTA in the follow-ups. It works really well, so we have a bunch of templates at breakall.com, so make sure to check this out. Now we can see in the email preview that each variable we put automatically adapts to the information we have about our leads. We could just click on send, but I want to talk about cold email personalization first. Personalizing your cold emails can have an impact on both your open rate and reply rate. Your open rate is determined by your subject line and the preview text. The preview text is usually your cold email opening line. If your cold email opening line is generic, people will see it and will make them less click on your emails. Your reply rate is mainly determined about how well you target the right buyer with the right offer. But some people just don't like being pitched like robots. People now are able to spot cold email automation, so they will appreciate every personalization touch. But personalizing cold emails takes time. So why should you personalize them? The answer is yes and no. Basically, there's 2 things to take into account. First, if your total addressable market is just 1,000 prospects, you need to hyper-personalize your cold emails, but if it's not, what matters is to be relevant. Relevancy beats personalization every single time. If you combine both, jackpot. To be relevant, it's simple. Send cold emails to people you know that they have the pain you're solving, and use a generic sentence to say where you found them, for example. Alright, so if we take the cold email road together, it looks like this. Hey first name, so you had an interest on growing Twitter accounts on Jeffrey's tweet. So now let's talk about the layer of personalization. When it comes to personalization, there are 3 layers that you can do. First layer is to use variables. It's the ones like first name, company name. This works well in the subject line, for example. Second layer is to be smart about your prospect segmentation to craft a generic copy for your list. If I only target 100 people that are all co-founders of a B2B fintech startup in New York, my email could look like this. Hey, first name, just joking, first name, let's break the ice. Does Twitter matter for an NY fintech startup like company name? P.S. I've been to NY in 2013, you're so lucky to live there. Third layer of personalization is to use hyper-personalized first lines, also known as icebreakers. The first way is to write the lines manually. For that, I use break code to aggregate all the news about my prospects so I don't have to open 1,000 tabs a day to quickly draft a personalized first line. Some people also outsource the work to virtual assistants, mainly located in Asia or India for cost purposes. In that case, you'll have to build SOAPs, standard operation procedures that they will have to follow to carry the work. The second way is to automate the process with AI. For that, I also use breakcode to generate in bulk the lines. Then I spend an hour to review 200 prospects to pick the best performing line out of the 4 generated. When it comes to AI, always generate the line from a website URL, not a LinkedIn one, because not every prospect fills the LinkedIn profile, so you won't have quality data. AI first lines are helpful only if you do cold email at scale and that you want to add a small layer of basic personalization. I won't advise you to use them otherwise. Once I'm satisfied with my icebreakers, I just have to put the variable either as a PS line, either as an opening line. If you want to learn more about cold email personalization, I wrote an entire article about it and another one about PS lines, so the links are in the description. Alright, we can now start our cold email campaign. But let's talk about cold email metrics first. You've now sent your first cold email campaign, but what is a good open rate and a good reply rate? A good open rate is anywhere above 60%. Top performers have even plus 70-80% open rate. If you have below 40%, it basically means that you have dirty problems. When it comes to reply rates, a good reply rate is 7-12%. Top performers have 20 plus, even 40% reply rate when they hyper-personalize everything, plus they are relevant, obviously. If you have a bad reply rate, it means that your offer basically sucks, or that you didn't target the right prospects. Alright, so now it's time to talk about managing leads and closing deals with social selling. It's easy to generate leads, but it's harder to close them. Little things make the difference. First, you need to use a CRM where you'll build a sales pipeline. A sales pipeline will help you put leads in the different stages of their customer journey from cold prospect to close deal. There are many CRMs out there, but in this video, I'll use Breakcode as a CRM. There are different stages I created in this example. You have cold lead, interested lead, cold lead, and close lead. Before this video, I actually launched the campaign we've built, so we'll see together the results we have so far. We can see that I have a 7% reply rate, 4 leads replied, and they are actually positive replies. Out of the 4 leads who replied, I got 3 calls. The first thing we're gonna do is to change the status of our lead from cold leads to interested. Secondly, we'll try to book a call with them. So here are the different responses we had so far. So we have Ben who said big fan of the call outbound. How about tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Sincerely, Ben. And then we replied, thank you, Ben, much appreciated. Tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. will be perfect. Arno will send you a calendar invite shortly. Best, Sophie. And then we had Abraham who replied and say, hey Sophie, looping in here on our team who would evaluate this. Can you send some materials or times to his attention? And then reply, thank you Abraham for your message. You can book a discovery call with Arno here. You can find all the key elements on our website. And then replied, thanks Sophie, book with Arno for next Tuesday. Looking forward to it. We now have 3 calls for our agency offer. Considering the pricing of our offer, which is $2,500 per month, we could potentially close $7,500 in sales with just 50 emails sent. Amazing. Prior to the call, I will aggregate all Twitter posts and LinkedIn posts of our prospects. This will allow me to know better my prospects before the call without opening tons of tabs. But most importantly, I can like and comment the posts to bond with them even before the call. We'll talk about sales call in another video, but long story short, just sales outcomes, not features, and use case studies if you have some. Once the call with your prospect is finished, you won't close the sale straight away. It happens, but not that much. That's why I'm using Brettcall's prospecting feed to engage and contact my prospects at every stage of the customer journey, once they are no longer called prospect. Important note here, you don't need more leads, you need to build more relationships. I know it sounds cheesy, but the best salesperson know that building relationships with your prospect or existing clients is how you'll actually make the difference. Focus more on closing the opportunities that you have instead of generating more leads. Depending on your product or service, sales cycles can be long, very long. Don't expect to close leads in just one day. That's why you should leverage social selling to keep bonding with prospects on a daily basis. You'll be able to stay top of mind so the day they're ready to buy, you'll get the sale compared to your competitors who only treated your prospects as leads, not humans. You're now able to generate leads constantly with cold email and able to close deals constantly with social selling. You can stop there, it's already enough, but if you want to generate leads exponentially and really make a bunch of money, like a lot, tons of that, keep watching. What is social selling? Social selling is a way to make sales with social media by posting content, sending cold warm DMs, and building relationships with prospects by liking and commenting the post. Social selling is a big thing on LinkedIn and Twitter. Choose one platform and stick to it. When it comes to social selling, you need to understand that it's a loop. The more you engage with people, the more they will see your content. This is how these algorithms work. So your job is pretty simple. Engage, create over and over. If you do this social selling loop, it's that along the way you make sure that the leads you've generated or your sign up are connected with you on LinkedIn or follow you on Twitter, it's jackpot. You'll close more customers over time, plus you'll generate more leads because when they like your content, it will be pushed to their own audience, which is very often customers that you want as well. In a sense, it's a mix of inbound and outbound that over time is unbeatable. I personally call it outbound prospecting. Let's talk about personal branding and social proof. First, you need to brand yourself. Whether you choose LinkedIn or Twitter, it works pretty much the same. First, you need to set up a nice looking profile picture that stands out. Create a banner and most importantly, write a catchy headline. The headline is the most important because this is how people will decide to follow you on Twitter or to click on your profile on LinkedIn or to connect in general. On both platforms, don't forget to add your website because it will bring you visits every single day. If you are not inspired to build your profile, go to flywheel.com and look at LinkedIn creators' profiles. Once your profile is ready, time to post content. Alright, so to have a successful content strategy on LinkedIn or Twitter, you need to pick a niche, identify top and micro B2B influencers in your niche to engage with on a daily basis. Post at least once per day. So in my case, I talk a lot about sales prospecting, so I identify the top influencers on that topic on both LinkedIn and Twitter. I added these people in Brettcall and I track them so I can engage daily with the content without opening 1,000 tabs a day because it sucks. If I would not use Brettcall for that, I would need to go to the LinkedIn profile, then to activity and post, which is boring. If it's LinkedIn, I will engage with them for a week and then I will send them a connection request. Why? Because micro-influencers receive many connections requests. So if you haven't done some social warming, it won't work. Once they accept you on LinkedIn, if you engage a lot with them every single day, they will see your post, and if big accounts engage with you, your reach will be huge. If you're on Twitter, it works pretty much the same way, but it's more natural. They might follow you at some point if you have a good content or if they like you over time, like it happened to me on Twitter. Now let's talk about posting content. It's super simple. Use FeedHive to schedule a social media post. Get inspired from what are writing the influencers in your niche by using Brettcall's social selling feed. Then write one LinkedIn post or 2 to 3 tweets a day. The hook is 95% of your post success, so work on it. Always engage 1 hour on the platform before posting. Always engage with your comments in the first 30 minutes after your post. If you do that, you'll have a better reach, like way better. Alright, so you know how to post content and engage with B2B influencers. Let's see how you can do social selling on cold prospects with LinkedIn or Twitter. Actually, I already talked about it in depth in 2 very long articles on breakall.com/blog, so I'll go quick on this part, but you can check this out, link in the description. Alright, first let's start with social selling on LinkedIn. First, you need to find leads. For that, you can use a Poller or Sales Navigator. For that matter, I prefer Sales Nav because I can see live the face of my prospects and my eyes know which prospects are active on LinkedIn or not. It's generally younger people, but the more you use LinkedIn, the more you understand people that tends to be active. I also like Sales Nav because you can filter people by the ones who posted on LinkedIn in the past 30 days. And so it's really great because you need people who are active on LinkedIn. Then I add them manually. I don't put any note as it's known to reduce by 10% your acceptance rates. Once they accepted my connection request, I don't send any DM, I wait for 1 week, but I engage with them using Breakall social selling feed that way. It might kickstart a natural conversation and they will see my content in the feed as they reply to my comments under the post. When the time is right or after a week, it could be whenever you feel actually. I send a DM that way. It's not aggressive, it's not a cold DM neither, and every time it lands conversation and sales calls, which is great. You can notice that I don't use any LinkedIn automation tool in this process because 1, it sucks, and 2, people are used to LinkedIn automation too much these days and it sucks, and 3, I value my account too much to get banned, and being banned sucks. Now let's see how to do social selling with Twitter. Compared to LinkedIn, social selling on Twitter is different because prospects won't see your DM straight away in the inbox if they don't follow you. It means that getting the attention is quite hard. I personally receive 3 to 4 spammy DMs a day. It's hard but also easy to stand out because how poor the messages are. To find prospects on Twitter, it's pretty easy. Use the advanced search, type keywords related to your product or service, set a minimum of likes or replies. The people who liked or replied are your targets. Add them to Breakall CRM and engage with the tweets, and send them a DM just after you engage with them so they will remember you and might follow you, which is key to fuel the social selling loop, especially in Twitter. Another way to do social selling on Twitter is to simply build lead magnets in the form of a tweet. They can be super viral depending on the value that you offer, and you pretty much force people to follow you in order for them to receive the lead magnet. The best part about it is that you can automate this process with softwares like Zappler. By the way, when it comes to DMs, be less aggressive with cold emails. The goal is to kickstart a natural conversation, keep it really short. Geez, we finally reached the end of this video. Thank you if you made it here. Make sure to give a like, a comment. It helps a lot for the algorithm. Make sure to check out Breakall at breakall.com. We have a free plan. You can prospect for free with us. So make sure to check this out. And subscribe to this YouTube channel because we'll release more videos in the future about how you can close sales in pretty much any kind of business. And sorry about my English. I'm French. I'm doing my best. So yeah, see you soon. I hope we'll get better, and make sure to Breakall people. Bye.